The abortion debate is one of the most emotionally and politically charged controversies in the country.
It is. Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine recently accused healthcare provider Planned Parenthood of inhumanely disposing of fetuses. But as 10 Investigates Nathan Bacher reveals, the Attorney General did not know many facts about his accusations. Nathan, tell us more.
Well, Jerry, Kristen, we uncovered a few things, especially that the state was doing business with the same company the Attorney General called inhumane. But first, a warning. The subject matter of our report is of a sensitive nature.
An investigation into Planned Parenthood and its handling of organs from aborted fetuses.
Planned Parenthood has been violating the law,
talking in ugly ways about what's done with fetal tissue.
While a nationwide debate raged on
Planned Parenthood's sale of baby parts
about allegations Planned Parenthood sold fetal body parts.
Mike DeWine is looking for an injunction against a clinic.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine gathered reporters December 11th to share that he found no evidence Planned Parenthood did anything criminal. But DeWine added his state investigators uncovered something he said was not humane.
First cooking fetuses and then disposing of them in a landfill is not humane.
DeWine's findings also went nationwide.
The investigation that you've done, it sheds more light on the realities of this process.
To understand the truth behind the Attorney General's statements, 10 Investigates looked into the 3 different ways fetal remains are disposed. The first is burial. The second method is cremation or incineration, which most local hospitals do. The third method is called auto-claving, which is what Planned Parenthood arranged. So we wanted to know what the issue was. The difference between autoclaving and incineration is the difference of steam heat or an open flame.
It's one of the products. This is an example of fiber that comes out.
Autoclave experts provided 10 Investigates with a sample of what waste looks like after processing. If you autoclave kitchen garbage, including meat scraps, it would look like this. It has the texture of home insulation. 10 Investigates talked to an executive at an autoclave manufacturer not connected to the Ohio controversy.
It's not necessarily because the autoclave cannot do the job, and that is to render it non-infectious. It's because it's a perception issue.
Until December, private contractor Accu-Medical Waste took fetal remains from Planned Parenthood in Columbus. Those remains were taken to Accu-Medical's facility in northern Kentucky. We were not allowed inside. 10 Investigates used pictures and records from the state of Kentucky to show what was going on inside. They show medical waste was put in this high-pressure chamber using intense steam heat and then compacted. The records show the results are sent here to nearby Green Valley landfill. State inspectors' pictures show a normal landfill. There were no state violations for receiving improperly treated medical waste, the Ohio Attorney General claimed. Planned Parenthood of Ohio also noted that Ohio previously had no issue with treatment of remains. Stephanie Kaitis, CEO of Planned Parenthood of Greater Ohio.
We've always been found to be in compliance. Always.
By who?
The state of Ohio, Ohio Department of Health.
We asked Attorney General DeWine to explain how he thought the fetal remains were being disposed.
We found that Planned Parenthood was disposing of fetuses by going through this steam heat process, and then those intact body of the fetus was taken to a landfill.
But autoclaving experts and Kentucky state inspectors say DeWine is wrong. Kentucky officials say no one from the Ohio Attorney General's office talked to them or looked at what goes on in the landfill. Had someone looked, they would see the main difference between autoclave and incineration or cremation is temperature degrees. It's also the difference between steam heat and an open flame. Both result in no recognizable body remaining. We showed Attorney General DeWine the sample of what common autoclave material looks like and asked him how it's different than incinerated ash.
Well, you're asking me to assume a lot of different things that, frankly, I don't know.
Counting, ladies.
Another group Attorney General DeWine did not investigate was his own state government. The Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections runs the state's prisons. 10 Investigates discovered medical waste from prison is disposed one of 2 ways, if it is not sent with the patient to the hospital. Any results of a miscarriage would either be flushed down the prison sewer as liquid waste, or whatever remains is cleaned up and disposed with other medical waste. One company had the contract to transport and dispose that waste. It's Accu-Medical Waste. The same company called out by Attorney General DeWine for allegedly inhumane actions.
How can you be certain that fetal remains that are generated by the state prison system aren't going into landfills?
Well, with this piece of information, as soon as we finish this interview, I'm going to get on the phone and talk to the department.
We asked Attorney General DeWine why make his public statement before knowing all the facts.
We put out a news release that morning, I think about 9 o'clock. By 11 o'clock, my staff was calling me and said, we've had so much interest in this that you really need to have a news availability.
We are not going to choose to fund you.
In the aftermath of Attorney General DeWine's findings, the Ohio Senate removed all state funding for women's health services at Planned Parenthood last week, leaving some to say his motivation was all politics, not facts.
It's evidence of putting political headlines over common sense, putting political headlines over access to health care. This was a political witch hunt that was destined to have some sort of outcome to grab a headline.
After our interview, the Attorney General's office looked into what the prison system does with fetal remains. They had no comment on what happens with miscarriages, but they pointed out that the prison system does not handle any abortions. Now, a few hours ago, the Attorney General's office added that no matter how the autoclave material looks after processing, Mike DeWine believes the process itself is inhumane. Now, the Ohio House will vote next week. They're expected to vote next week on whether or not to strip all funding from Planned Parenthood on women's health programs.
And that vote is essentially just a technicality, right, Nathan?
That's right, because the Ohio House has already voted on it. So now it'll be going to Ohio Governor John Kasich as he runs for president.
All right. Thanks, Nathan.
You bet.
And there is certainly much more to this story, and 10 Investigates shows how the change to the law is creating privacy concerns for women. We have extended coverage of this investigation on the web on 10TV.com.